you. Thank you. Great to see everyone. Great to be back here in paradise. Know my others is Long Island. Thank you, everyone. Truly appreciate this, and so happy to be here today. This is really extraordinary, and it takes a former town official and a former county official like myself to get really excited about sewer and water and all the things that you don't think about every day. So that's in my DNA. That's who I am, and I think I've served in every level of government except for school board. I may take a pass on that thing. That's the toughest one. But my experience in local government really made me cognizant of the fact of the responsibility that local leaders, and your county executive, Steve Bellone, is at the top of that list in terms of people who understand the importance of the legacy building accomplishments that occur when we invest in infrastructure, because, my friends, for decades it did not happen. So I want to thank County Executive Steve Bellone for his leadership on this, as well as many other initiatives we've worked on together. Basil Sagos, extraordinary. I want to thank you for being the face to the rest of the country, what we can do when we protect our climate, protect our environment, and lean into a clean energy future. You have been a rock star, and I'm so proud to have you part of our administration. Our Commissioner, Basil Sagos of the Department of Environmental Conservation, and Adrian, we've known each other a long time. You are one of those people that when Adrian's here, is like, the answer better be yes, because you're going to hear about it. The Executive Director of Citizens Campaign for the Environment, and I thank you and all the other environmental activists who are here today. This is really important, and it's just a reminder of our commitment at the government level, but also it is the activism at the local level that brings these issues to us with such passion, and I thank you for that as well. Jeff Szabo, again, I'm a county official. I know I'm important. It's a big deal to be the CEO of the Water Authority, so I thank you for the team you lead here to make sure that we do it right, because the consequences are devastating if we don't, and providing clean water for our homes is so critically important. Also, we have Senator Kevin Thomas, who's joined us here today. Great to see you again, Senator. Steve Engelbreit, our Assembly member. Thank you. Great to see everybody outside of Albany. Yes. No offense to Albany. I love the city. It's just we'll leave all that alone. Just nice to be out. And also, our great partners in labor. I mean, these are the people who just train the individuals who are creating the jobs of tomorrow that are so important for us. And I want to thank Maddie Arasich, the president of the Building Construction Trade Council, Nassau and Suffolk counties, and also Ryan is here from, and also I don't see John Durso. John Durso not here? No. Ryan, you're a good substitute. Don't worry about it. John Durso is not here, but Ryan, thank you for joining us. And Kevin Law, the chair of the Empire State Development. I'm so proud to have him as part of my team. It took a little while get through the process, but I'm really proud to have you, and I look forward to hearing through your eyes, based on your many years of service to Long Island in different roles, the important needs of this entire community. And I want to thank all of you for being here today. So, why we're here? I've been on Long Island hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, because I actually keep track of this. And we've made many announcements, clean energy announcements. We talked about, infrastructure a lot out here. And, I also know that every time I'm out here, it's potholes. I know. I'm working on your potholes. We're working on your potholes. We talk about property taxes all the time, and I'm really proud as I look back at our numbers, the record investments that we were able to make in education this year has resulted in some school districts being able to reduce their taxes. And as someone, that is important. That is a quality of life issue. It is an area where we need to continue making sure our property taxes decline, and if anything we can do at the state level, we'll continue to do that and work with our partners in local, because we know that is a barrier. Again, everybody wants to live here, but they have to be able to afford to live here. So I will continue working and finding ways to direct money to the localities so they can take a little pressure off them and their need to raise taxes. So we'll make sure we keep working on that. So we talk about potholes, we talk about property taxes. When it's season time, we talk about the Islanders. I know what we talk about here, all the picnic conversations. But also today we're talking about something we don't talk about enough, and that is water quality. Water quality. Because when you have it, it's like air, you take it for granted, you don't think about it. When you don't, your community is challenged, your homes and businesses are affected, and it really becomes a deterrent to wanting to live in a place if you can't guarantee something as basic as water quality. Why is this so important to me? I come from a far, far, far away place called Buffalo, New York, and it takes me less time to drive from there to see my kids in Washington than it does to Long Island. So that's how the scale of our state is. But I grew up on Lake Erie, and now it's pristine. It's magnificent as one of the largest freshwater bodies on this planet. And when I was growing up, and in the shadow of the steel plant, you could witness the destruction of this body of water literally with your own eyes. You could see at night the sky glowed when the steel plant would dump, and if they didn't sink, we noticed it. It looked like molten lava being poured in their discharge there. And believe it or not, by day we were swimming in that water as kids. Nobody knew any better. And the sky was so polluted that I didn't know it was supposed to be blue skies. They were orange skies. And the smell, the stench, and the dead fish, that's the world a lot of people grew up in. And so when I think about water quality, yes, of course, you should always have water quality, but it was not always a given. And we had to fight, and we had to establish organizations, and I give Richard Nixon a lot of credit in 1970, creating the Environmental Protection Agency. Thank you, Richard Nixon, for that one. And I'll mention this later, but it is still so shocking to me that just in the last week, when the steamroller known as the Supreme Court this year took away one of our other rights, and that is to protect ourselves and to make it more challenging for the EPA to do their job. The reason they exist is to make sure that we have clean air, clean water, and a better future. And we made tremendous progress. I swim in Lake Erie all the time. It's gorgeous. That's my swimming pool when I'm back home. I literally jump in the lake. Of course, your beaches are a little nicer. And in fact, I shouldn't say this, but as I said, as I was arriving here today, I said, of all the places we can go on Long Island today, dealing with water, you couldn't get me to a beach. No offense here, but I was like, we have other ways I can experience water here on Long Island, and because the beaches are world class, absolutely world class here. But we talk about water quality, and it doesn't happen on its own. You need protections, you need thoughtful infrastructure projects, and you need to invest the money. And that's what we're doing here right in Long Island. And so for too many communities, we've had contaminated drinking water. That is a scary thought. If you're a parent and you have to wonder what's coming out of your faucet, that is scary. And no one in this state, in this country, should ever have that fear. But we saw what happened in other parts of our country when the investments were not made in basic infrastructure. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, when I was a local official, we were always trying to get money out of the state to be able to rehabilitate our sewer and water lines that were well over 100 years old. And the answer was almost universally no, do it yourselves. So I come out of that, and I know we have to do this because 3/4 of the homes in Suffolk County are not even sewered. I mean, that's just a statement of fact. So they use cesspools that are often contaminated, barely treat the wastewater that goes into the ground, and it doesn't just impact drinking water, it also affects marine life, the shellfishing and all these other, the whole wonderful, magnificent ecosystem that is part of the quality of life here and the uniqueness of Long Island. So it's an environmental issue, it's a quality of life issue, it's a public health issue. So while they may be underground and you don't always see it visually, they're very, very, very much on our radar. And so we're feeling the effects of this for too long, and today we're doing something about it. Today I'm announcing $255 million in clean water infrastructure, that'll go for wastewater, sewer, and drinking water improvements. And that's in addition to, that's statewide, we're not getting all that. But you'll get a lot of it. You're getting a lot of it. And that's in addition to over $500 million that has already been received by Long Island alone to make these investments. So municipalities can submit applications. And also, here's something that's important. We have $30 million set aside to support homeowners and business owners who have to replace their septic systems. Let's get that money. And of that money, $20 million is going directly to Suffolk County. So you're receiving $20 million. And And that should help over 2,000 failing systems. And so this will help Long Islanders and New Yorkers and help us also create the jobs. I mean, you ready for this? Let's start building. Let's engineer more manufacturing, engineering, construction, plant operations, and so much more. And we think about critical infrastructure. Yes, it's great to do. It's important to do. But it does have over 120,000 jobs associated with this statewide. And that's really important to me as well. So that's important. We've made a number of other improvements. We really do believe in using the time we have here. I mean, we are stewards of this planet. We have a moral responsibility to clean up the messes of the past, invest now so the future generations look back at us, not with disdain and say, why did they do that, like we look back, but they say, wow, they got it right. They were forward thinking, they protected us. And that's the gratitude you may not hear directly from children and grandchildren of the future, but it'll be real because we're making those investments now. And I also have a number of investments that we're making in our budget. Again, a budget is simply a statement of priorities, a statement of your priorities. This is where we think it's important to invest state taxpayer dollars. And so we've embraced this moment of possibility to really make a generational changing difference in our investments is showing where we believe we have a responsibility. So our budget includes over $500 million in clean water infrastructure overall, $400 million for the Environmental Protection Fund. All these are record numbers. We've never spent this level of money on environmental protection, as well as our $4.2 billion Clean Air, Clean Water, Green Jobs, Environmental Bond Act. And I need everybody's help to get that one over the finish line. Need your help this November. Got to get that one over the finish line. Critically important to make those investments now because, yes, it is a big price tag. The longer we wait, the numbers just go up. They just keep going up, and that is why it would have been better if this had been done in the past. We're doing it now, and again, this is an investment to protect against climate change, the devastation that goes on right here before our very eyes. We've had enough cleanups to have this seared in your memory what happens, and that requires us to build resiliency. And we know how to do this. We know how to do this. We know how to protect our shorelines. We know how to protect our homes and our businesses, but it takes money, and it takes money now. And that's what we're committed to doing. So the stakes could not be higher. Again, I mentioned the Supreme Court that says to me, we're on our own. We're on our own. Here in the state of New York, we're on our own. And luckily, there are other enlightened states. I'm part of a climate alliance with Oregon and California and Washington State, and actually more than half of the states are banding together and saying, you know what, we can't let this go. We cannot miss this moment. And I've said before, this is the first generation to really feel the effects of climate change, as I described how I grew up, what it was like. We're the ones feeling it now with extreme weather events and so many other ways that our lives are not the same. But we're also the last generation that can do something about it. We're the last ones that can do something to stop it from going even further backwards. And so that is my commitment to you here today as your governor. I will continue to focus on this place. This is paradise, Long Island, but we also have vulnerabilities. We focus on fixing the vulnerabilities, strengthening what we have here, and then there's no stopping us. So I really feel optimistic about the future. I truly do. But the health of our children and this planet depend on what we do here today, and this is a great start. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Looking forward to hear from our county executive, and this is a great day. Thank you.
Please welcome to the podium Suffolk County Executive Steve Bellone.
Thank you, Governor. Let's hear it for the governor again for that incredible announcement. Even though we're not getting all of the money, we're pretty happy with what you just announced, Governor. I want to, of course, welcome Governor Hochul back again, once again, to Long Island. She has been here so many times. I have said that I think this may be her favorite place in the state. I know she has a special place in her heart for her hometown, of course, but I know that Long Island is special to her. I know she understands how important Long Island is to the state. And we are so appreciative of you, Governor, and how you have delivered for Long Island. You know, you talk about being a local official. I have some great partners here in Suffolk County because we can't do this work, this critical work we're doing, as you know, Governor, without working together. And I want to acknowledge them and thank them. Our Minority Leader, Jason Richburg, is here. A great leader in our water quality efforts, Legislator Bridget Fleming as well. I know our former presiding officer and now a member of the governor's team at the DEC here on Long Island, Rob Calarco, I believe is here, and I want to recognize and thank him for his work as well. Rob, thank you. Good to see you. And, of course, I want to acknowledge our team, our staff, the water quality czar, we call him Peter Scully, the director of our water quality efforts here. Peter, thank you for your great work. So I first want to express how grateful I am to Governor Hochul for what she has just announced, because it means that we're going to be able to make even more significant progress in our efforts to improve water quality here. And not just here in Suffolk County, but all across the state of New York. And that is so significant. We've been talking about this. I've been talking about this particularly since we began our Reclaim Our Water initiative nearly a decade ago now, about the importance of water quality. It is everything to us. The governor said this. For us on Long Island, it's everything. It's our recreation. It's our quality of life. It's our economy. For many people, it's the reason we live here. The water that sustains us is beneath our feet, literally. And we know, unfortunately, that water can also be a threat to us here. We have seen that in the form of extreme weather events driven by climate change that is happening. We are as vulnerable as any region can be. And we have seen decades of decline in our water quality. And that is an existential threat to this region. If we are not improving our water quality, if we are not reversing those decades of decline that have happened because of the pollution we've been driving into our waterways, we will not have a prosperous future on Long Island. And the governor laid it out very clearly. The situation in Suffolk County is simply this. We have 1.5 million people living above a sole source aquifer that mostly are utilizing outdated wastewater technology, old septics and cesspools. And the result of that is we've been seeping pollution every day for decades into our water, into our waterways, that has resulted in devastating effects, harmful algal blooms, brown tides, red tides, beach closings, fish kills, things that are devastating to us on Long Island. And the solution is clear: wastewater technology. Thanks in large part to the efforts of the governor, we have a number of sewer projects that are happening right now or about to begin, which are great for jobs and great for water quality, and are allowing us to make progress. But this problem is so massive. There's so much more that needs to be done. This has occurred over decades, and it's going to take a long time to fix in a responsible way. But we need to be making progress every year. So sewers are helping. But we know that sewers are not enough, that sewers are an impractical solution in many, many areas in Suffolk County. And that's why we did the Septic Improvement Program, worked together with our environmental leaders. And the response to the program has been tremendous. Thousands of applications have come in. We've completed over 1,100 installations in that program. So that's the great news. We've worked to make it affordable and easy for homeowners to make this investment in their home that helps improve water quality for all of us. The problem is, as it usually is, funding. That has been the biggest constraint on the expansion of this program, which is critical to Long Island's and Suffolk County particularly water quality future. Today, what the governor has announced has lifted that constraint, and we will now be able to dramatically expand this critical program. Governor, I cannot thank you enough for that. And I can guarantee you we're going to put that that money to great use here to improve water quality. Thank you so much, Governor. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce my good friend and somebody who's been an incredible partner to Long Island on so many issues, but particularly the water quality issues, Commissioner Basil Segas. Basil.
Thank you, County Executive Ballone. It is true, we've been friends for some time. Whether it's wastewater, toxics, algal blooms, clams, I mean, we have all the fun, right? And this is the best place to do it. But thank you for the nice intro, Governor Hochul. Thank you for all you've been doing, and thank you for being here today to announce this incredible award. We have Mike Hale as well from the EFC, Environmental Facilities Corporation. Really maybe a little bit under the radar organization in New York State, but does incredible work pushing out literally billions of dollars every year. Mike Hale's here. Thank you, Mike. And to the environmental community here, I know we have Adrienne, and we'll hear from her. I know everyone's waiting to hear from Adrienne. But to the environmental community, let's give yourselves a really big hand right now for all the work you do here in Long Island. I just want to pull back for a second before we get into some of the details here, and I'll echo what the governor has already said. But when you look at the challenges confronting this country right now, and in particular confronting this state, we are so fortunate to have a governor like Governor Hochul. Whether it is women's reproductive rights, gun issues, or the environment, I mean, there is literally no one doing in the country what this governor is doing right now. I want to recognize that. And this is very true. It's close to my heart, the environment, of course, care about all of those things, but the environment is what I do. Having the chance to see what New York is doing right now. And the governor mentioned many of her achievements, these recent achievements. Climate change, right? And the many states we're working with to push back against the rollbacks in Washington from the Supreme Court. We are leading. We are already leading on climate. We have the nation's most ambitious climate law, the most ambitious. We are leading on clean energy, offshore wind, right? Solar. We're leaders on both of those fronts. The incredible investments that are going into things that are very important to all of you, right? The Environmental Protection Fund, right? Which now $400 million, thanks to the governor's leadership. Those dollars go right into communities all across the state. I know every single one of you in here has been touched by something out of the Environmental Protection Fund. It's an incredibly important asset, which when I started this job was about $136 million. And now we're dealing with a $400 million fund. Fantastic. I'm seeing Steve Engelbright here. We've had many exchanges over the years during budget hearings, and certainly excited to see everything on the upward trajectory on all these funds. The Bond Act, again, very important, will be a very important tool for us to take those dollars, the governor's vision, to take those dollars, make the state more resilient, improve problems all around the state, and really, I know that Long Island will be a major focus of that work, and of course, water infrastructure, which everyone says is not really sexy, but I agree with you. This is the most important infrastructure because unless you take care of the arteries, right, the body is not going to be healthy. And that's really what water infrastructure is all about, the unseen infrastructure, that when it goes wrong, right, when you're not caring for it, everything else falls apart slowly, right, whether it's drinking water or clean water, that treatment. So these dollars that the governor mentioned, it almost gets lost in the headlines because every single day in the last few months has been an amazing achievement out of this administration. $4.5 billion. Let that set in for a moment. That's the amount of money that the state has been putting into grants for water infrastructure. It didn't even exist a few years ago. We were just doing loans. Now it's a massive grant program that no other state is doing to match up with the nation's leading loan program, $1 billion a year in loans. And that's all going into projects across the state with labor, right? So those important jobs are being built all across the state. So I'm super excited about this. I'll be frank. I'm super excited. I've been to Long Island, just like the governor, probably more than, not as much as the governor, but more than any other region. In some way, I'm still waiting for an invitation to a beach or something, not a contaminated site. But it is good to be good to be down here again, and I know we're not done. There's a lot of fun coming this year to Long Island, so more on that. But today's announcement is really huge. Water is life. It is underneath all of us right now, and unless we protect it, unless we care for it, I've seen it firsthand when we don't do it right. You know, when we're not doing that right, whether I'm DEC commissioner or the chair of EFC, you see those problems viscerally. So this is really big. $225 million in grants that the governor announced statewide, so obviously beyond Long Island, Mr. County Executive. And those dollars are going to spur growth. They're going to protect all kinds of jobs. They're going to protect the economy and make sure that we are safeguarding our most precious assets, our landscape. That $30 million program, the septics program, just to put a fine point on it, we've made great strides, actually, with water quality in the U.S., in particular here in New York. We haven't made the same kind of strides with groundwater, and that's largely in Long Island because of the septic issue. So putting that $30 million, as the governor has, into septics, $20 million where it's needed most, right here in Suffolk County, is going to be a game changer. So upgrading those 360,000 outdated systems, we are partners. We're strong partners with the county, of course, with the legislature, with the environmental community, make sure this happens, deliver those dollars quickly, eliminate the hurdles and the burdens that we've been dealing with now for so many years. So this is exciting. We certainly encourage all the eligible homeowners and businesses to start calling the county and asking where the funds are. They will be rolling fast, and that's the objective of this, to get these dollars out there. Partners, we're fortunate to have so many amazing partners in the room. Again, I won't go through the full list, but seeing everyone in the room here, this is where it happens. These are the people in this room that are needed to pull all this incredible money across the finish line and ultimately protect the environment and improve people's lives. So I want to thank all the partners in the room here, thank the incredible work that you've done over the years, but it does not happen without a governor who's leading the state and making sure that these things are getting done. So I want to thank the governor again for everything that she's done. Let's give her a big applause. So, I want to introduce somebody who needs an introduction. No one knows her here. She's been a fantastic advocate and would never say a thorn in anyone's side, but has been pushing and pushing and pushing for years on the things that we're talking about right now, and has been a great friend to all of us in this room, a great friend on these issues, a great friend personally to me and all my fellow colleagues at DEC. Adrienne Esposito, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Long Island is very diverse, and a lot of times we disagree, right? There's political angst, we see things differently, but there is one thing we all agree on, and that's clean water. Long Island needs, wants, and deserves clean water. So thank you to Governor Hochul for understanding that and answering that call. At our office, we get lots of phone calls from the community. We're a community-based organization. The number one call we get is my water safe to drink? We also get lots of calls with people calling saying, I'm thinking about buying a house in such and such a community. How's the water over there? In the summer, the calls shift to, I brought my kids to the Bay beaches and the water was the color of chocolate. Is it safe for my children to go swimming there? We also get lots of calls from people with private wells. How do I get my well tested? On Long Island, it's one of the only places in the nation where you say 1,4-dioxane and people say yes, because they understand what that means. That's sad, but true. So this funding is really a game changer for us on Long Island. The good news is we've made a lot of progress, but we have more challenges ahead to meet the needs and demands for clean water. The funding translates to upgrading antiquated sewage treatment plants, replacing antiquated cesspools with new technology that actually treats wastewater. The funding translates to clean water, protecting public health, increasing our home values, and allowing Long Island to be sustainable, livable, and lovable for years to come. That's what this funding means to us. And that's why we're so appreciative for the state and the county's work to work collaboratively to get the job done. You know, you think it's not a hard ask, right? Clean water. It's a basic necessity of life. So thank you, really, from the bottom of our hearts to Governor Hochul, to our County Executive Steve Bellone, DEC Commissioner Basil Sagos, but to also all our partners. On Long Island, the environmental groups, and throughout New York State have worked together and teamed up together for clean water. Thank you to people like Kevin McDonald from the Nature Conservancy. I see Lisa Ott, North Shore Land Alliance. Rob DiGiovanni from AMC's. I saw Louise Harrison from Save Plum Island, because we're going to do it, Louise. But also, lastly, to our union partners. Because Basil thinks sewage isn't sexy, but we're changing that, Basil, okay? You do. But we have Ryan Stanton, AFL-CIO, Long Island Feds, Maddie, Suffolk-Nassau County Building Trades. You know, we've really worked such a close partnership with the unions on clean water and wind. It's even so that now Maddie, when he needs advice and guidance, he'll come to us and ask, for that, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Maddie. So thank you again. Clean water means clean life and a healthy life for us on Long Island, and we can't thank you enough, and keep sending that money. We're going to change the name of Suffolk County from the septic capital of the world to Clean Water County. So our next speaker knows a lot about clean water and is one of the primary stewards of clean water here in Suffolk County. I'd like to introduce Jeff Szabo, the CEO of the Suffolk County Water Authority. Thank you, Jeff.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Governor Hochul, for being here today. We very much appreciate it. Mental note, never follow Adrian Esposito, right? Okay, so thanks, Adrian. Before I get started, I'd like to just recognize a couple of individuals from the drinking water industry on Long Island, key partners in providing safe drinking water to the residents we serve. The first is Patricia Peterson, President of the Nassau-Suffolk Drinking Water Commissioners Association. Welcome. Kevin Dirk, our laboratory director and also president of the Long Island Water Conference. We also have several Water Authority board members here, including Tim Bishop, Jacqueline Gordon, where's Jackie? Liz Mercado, and of course, last but certainly not least, Water Authority Chairman Pat Halpin. We very much appreciate, Pat, your leadership over the years in making sure that the Water Authority continues to be the #1 drinking water company in the nation. So, thank you. That's it. Make sure you say that when you get up there. So, and former county executive, yes. So, Governor, there may So I know we'd all prefer to be at a beach. Mentioned a couple of times, and Adrian asked, is the water safe to drink? And all that, you get calls from residents and customers all the time. Certainly, the water is safe to drink, right? The Water Authority meets or exceeds all drinking water standards, but it comes at tremendous cost. So we spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to meet the regulations set by the EPA and the state and local health department. But there may not be a more appropriate place to be than here at the Water Authority's Education Center, and right behind this wall, our laboratory. Behind this wall, we conduct hundreds of thousands of tests a year to make sure your drinking water is safe. So, we have experts to test drinking water for the 1.2 million people we serve. and make sure that it meets and exceeds standards. We know that Governor Hochul supports drinking water quality, and that's certainly demonstrated by her commitment today and her announcement today. The announcement of additional funds for vital water infrastructure improvements to address emerging contaminants is not just a victory for drinking water quality, but also for ratepayers of Suffolk County and New York State. Treatment systems to remove these compounds are tremendously expensive. And although we hope that the manufacturers of the chemicals, right, that are in the drinking water pay for the removal of the compounds and ensure that drinking water is safe, until that happens, we have to take the necessary steps to have the funding in place, to get treatment in place to meet those drinking water standards. So thank you, Governor. To fulfill this critical mission, we can ask for no better partner than Governor Hochul. She's been with us every step of the way. We at Suffolk County Water Authority thank her for her commitment, her continued leadership in making drinking water a priority. Thank you all very much for coming today. We appreciate you being here. Thank you, Governor.